Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to break down UFC Fight Night, Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. Fight Night card's not too bad actually, to be honest. Let's just get right into it. First fight of the night, we got Jamie Lynn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. I actually think this fight's a little bit closer than the odds suggest. I don't think Horth should be a 2-1 favorite. Her loss to Veronica Hardy split decision is, I guess, is that better than Petrovic's loss to Luana Carolina? I don't know. I think that this fight will probably go to decision. I don't think it should be 2-1 odds personally, but give me Jamie Lynn Horth, give me the Canadian girl, to maybe just be a little bit more physical, impose her will a little bit better. But it's not a fight that I think is going to be great to watch personally. What do you think?
I actually think the same thing. I think she's going to impose her will. I think she's the bigger girl. She'll push her around. She'll probably have a little bit better cardio. Um, Petrovic, man, like the loss against Carolina is one thing, but even against Liang Na, she's getting knocked all over the place. And if it wasn't for Liang Na gassing out like Liang Na only does, where she did against Carnelossi after beating her up, and so it's the same thing, right? How do you know if that fight goes? So her durability was there, yeah, but she showed the ability to get beat up. So, I mean, I think Horth is just going to push her up against the cage and just try to control her. And like you said, boring ass fight that goes the distance. But yeah, I see Jamie. I see the path for Jamie Lynn Horth. I can pick her. I don't like the odds though.
All right. Next fight of the night, Chad Anheliger, plus 162 versus Cody Gibson, minus 188. This is another fight that I think is a lot closer than those odds suggest. Cody Gibson, as the favorite here, what is he really good at? He's pretty big, he's pretty strong, he's pretty tough. I don't think he's really overly skilled at anything, to be honest. And I think he gets by with toughness, and that's going to work a lot of the time, but I'm not so sure that he should be a big favorite here. I'm passing on this fight. I think it's another fight that goes to the decision. So the pick is going to be that the fight goes the distance for me, but it's a straight up pass. For me, it's a pass. What do you think?
Well, Cody Gibson's way bigger than this guy. I think he has like a 71 to 64-inch reach advantage, and he's taller by about 3 or 4 inches as well. So I feel like he can use that as well. And Helliger, man, he got taken down 4 times against Charlams Grigoru, and he won a unanimous decision because he got up on that guy. But like Gibson's been using that wrestling lately, and it's kind of well-rounded his game out. And he tapped out Kelleher pretty easily in the last fight. And I think he can do the same thing here. I think and Halliger has been rear naked choked by Jose Johnson, right? So like, and Jose Johnson's half the fighter I think that Cody Gibson actually is, to be honest with you. And the fact that Cody Gibson is pushing the wrestling, and I think he's the better striker here because he can stay at range better. So yeah, chalk me up for Cody Gibson. I think he uses his tools that God gave him and beats Chad Anheliger. Close fight, probably 29-28. But Cody's got everything on his side for his.
All right. Next fight of the night, we got Saray Sidey coming in at minus 160, Garrett Armfield plus 130. Again, these all seem like pretty pick'em style fights here. They all seem pretty close. Garrett Armfield at his best is a decent fighter, but he's very inconsistent. I thought he kind of gassed out last time. There's times where he's shown an incredible chin and incredible toughness, and there's other times where it looks like he fades really quickly. So I don't like betting on fighters that are inconsistent. He's not consistent enough for me to pick him. I don't trust him, so I will lean Sidey, but I do think Armfield at his best can win this fight. Like it just, again, the inconsistency. It's just somebody I don't trust from a financial standpoint. So for me, the pick will be Sidey, but it's not a bet. What do you think?
They're pretty close in size, to be quite honest with you. But Armfield, man, he always comes up a little bit short. Um, Today, that first fight with Tavares, he showed a lot of toughness. I thought that fight was going to end in the distance. He lost the decision to Tavares, but he did outstrike him in that fight, 79-62, which is pretty good because I don't think Garrett Armfield is at all good at throwing too much volume. Aside from that Katona fight where he did throw volume, I've seen it after. And yeah, he can get taken down in subs. And I think today I've seen in some past film that, he's got a little bit of a ground game on him. So, man, Armfield's his weakness is being taken down. I think Sidey has wrestling in his back pocket here, probably is the stronger grappler. Um, yeah, give me Sidey because I was actually impressed with that fight that he lost. He was the favorite though, so buyer beware here, but I think Sidey will outlast him.
All right, next fight of the night, we've got Alexander Romanov coming in at -110 versus Rodrigo Nascimento -110. Dead pick'em fight. Uh, two heavyweight slobs here. So I mean, I guess there's a reason it's dead even. I guess. I mean, heavyweight fight. Who lands first? Who does their thing? Nascimento definitely not really a one punch hitter quitter kind of guy. He's kind of actually known more for his grappling, I guess. Romanov, absolute gasser. Usually great hammer, terrible nail. And if he doesn't get you out of there in the first round, he gasses horribly. He has come in with massive weight fluctuations and massive physical differences. Like just by looking at him, you can almost tell like weigh-ins. Like I wouldn't touch him until I see him because sometimes he's such a slob and his performances are just terrible. And at his best, he's a guy who can take you down. And like I said, he can be that hammer and beat you up from the top position. For me, like I said, good hammer, bad nail equals fight doesn't go the distance. So whatever side you're on, I think it ends because I don't think Romanov has gas to go 3 rounds. So he's either going to finish you quickly or he's going to gas out and get finished. And again, I got to see him on the scale. I think Nascimento's actually the more talented guy everywhere on the feet and on the ground. It's just a matter of will he get taken down and trapped. I mean, he's not going to win from the bottom. He's not going to throw up an armbar or triangle with Nascimento's body style here. So if Romanov takes him down, he's going to pound him out. If he doesn't, he's going to gas and get finished himself. I see value on both guys. Honestly, I truly see value on both guys. I'm going to wait till I see them physically. My initial lean is going to be I'm going to go with Nascimento as my initial lean. I know Romanov at his best can floor him, take him down, and pound him out. I think he's too inconsistent. I got to see what kind of shape he's in. What do you think?
Well, I think I'm gonna go with Nascimento too because I think more of the boxes are checked on his side. He's the better striker. Romanov's striking is horrible, absolutely horrible, and he can get picked apart. And Nascimento, for all his flaws, he was hanging a little bit there with Derek Lewis in that last fight. Um, so he can hit. He can hang on the feet, and I don't think Romanov has one hitter quitter power, so he's not taking him out. So, like you said, the takedown, and that's how Romanov wins is those fights that he gets takedowns. Nascimento, for all intents and purposes, has been pretty good at not getting taken down. The only fight he's been taken down is the Iri Latifi fight, which he actually won. And other than that, no one else has really taken him down. Dawkins could do it. And Dontel Mays obviously can't do it because Dontel Mays sucks. But yeah, so you really think Romanov's not gonna like power tap him out? It's gonna have to be some sort of like ground and pound King Kong Bundy style hammer fist from the top sort of thing. And is Nascimento really just gonna sit there as a BJJ like black belt? I don't think he just sits in Buddy's guard or sits in side control and just gets pounded. So he might have to cover up, might have to get up. I think he does get up. I don't think Romanov is like that good, but maybe early on he's pretty strong. But like, man, it's like halfway through the first round, that's when the gas tank really goes. So yeah, man, I think Nascimento durability, better striker, decent ground game if he's not like trapped, like you said. So yeah, Nascimento.
Next fight of the night, we got Jack Shore +200 versus Yusuf Zalal -250. This is one of the fights I hammered. I feel really good about Yusuf Zalal. I've always thought Jack Shore is kind of a fraud. Like I know he came in as a hot prospect, a lot of high hopes, a lot of people praising him. I don't think he's that great. I think the only thing he has going for him would be volume. Yusuf Zalal can be low volume in the past. But so I mean, I think if you're on Jack Shore, it's Jack Shore decision, and you're going to get some insane value on that because there's no way he's finishing Yusuf Zalal. Zalal went the distance with Taporia, one of the few guys that can say they did that. I don't think there's a chance in hell Jack Shore finishes him. I think Zalal is better everywhere. The only thing is the volume, but I think he's rejuvenated. He looked fantastic last fight. This is his second stint. I just think he's better absolutely everywhere. So I have played Yusuf Zalal a couple times actually. So I'm on Zalal. What do you think?
I'm on Zalal too. I think he's just quicker. I think he is moving forward all the time. I think he could probably use wrestling here. I think he's got the better motor. And yeah, I think he's better all the way around on this. Jack Shore is just a little bit too calculated for Yusuf Zalal. And this is like a Zalal 2.5, you know what I mean? So this is like a big step up from when he was in the UFC the first time. I honestly don't think he's gonna finish him because like he's been finishing guys a lot on the ground. He overwhelmed Quarantillo and ended up beating him by a rear naked choke. And same thing with Jarno Evans the last time out. So I don't think he hits hard enough to knock a guy out. I don't think his ground and pound is good enough to stop him with the TKO. Jack Shore's a little bit he's short up on the ground, if you know what I mean. And I think Jack Shore's jits is good enough to not get tapped. He won't just let fucking Yusuf Zalal float while he's on top, right? So yeah, I can see Zalal by like a heavy decision though. If he gets him down, he's not gonna just let him up. And if he gets him down, he's probably gonna hold him down. He might not tap him. So I say Zalal by decision, but minus 250 is pretty good.
Next fight of the night, we've got the Canadian Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. Odds seem about right. It's close to a pick'em. Jourdain is a slight favorite. Um, I don't trust Charles Jourdain. I think he probably should have the striking advantage. I mean, maybe the grittier, tougher fighter, maybe. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I think if Victor Henry can get the grappling going, that he can probably take him down and I don't know if he taps him, but just win by grinding it out with grappling. I haven't touched it, and I don't really like to root for the grinding kind of win here, but I just think Jourdain does have a little bit of a hole there. So I think there's a path there for Victor Henry to win with the grappling. What do you think?
The problem is Victor Henry doesn't really push the grappling. But on the other hand, I think he actually could out volume this guy too, right? Man, like Victor Henry on known occasions has gone over 100 strikes a ton of times against Auni Barcelos 181, against Gravely 154, against fucking Yaya 109. So like I think he could do that. And Charles Jourdain for all his wins is like it's like he got a guillotine choke of Ricardo Ramos and outstruck Conor by a wide margin. But like these wins he's not throwing out mad volume only against some back in the day fights. This guy has changed. He's switching like weight divisions. He doesn't even know where to be right now. So like where's his head at, right? So like, Victor Henry knows who Victor Henry is, you know what I mean? His game plan is a volume striking game plan. Keep this thing off the ground. Because Charles Jourdain, remember in his last fight against John Silva, tried to take him down and tried to, ride out top position, do that. That's not his style, man. And Victor Henry, like, he's sporting an 80% takedown defense. And yeah, so yeah. Give me Victor Henry and actually give me to him by volume. And I don't think he knocks out Charles Jourdain, but I think he's gonna be the busier striker. I really do. I think it's gonna be something like 115 to maybe 70.
It's a good dog shot regardless. You're getting plus money on him.
Yeah.
Next fight of the night, we got Ariane Da Silva or Lipski or Queen of Violence, whatever she calls herself now. I think she has a new nickname, taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius. Lipski coming in plus 187, Jasmine minus 225. Total clash of styles. Classic striker versus grappler. A couple of years ago, I thought Lipski was absolutely terrible. And then she really won me over. Honestly, she put in the work. Her striking got pretty good, to be honest. She can crack, and she's tough. She can take a beating too. So for someone who was so raw and so bad, she's made tremendous progress. I think she's definitely the better striker here. Problem is she does get taken down quite often. She's improved her takedown defense, but she still gets taken down. She does. So that's clearly the path for Jasmine. Jasmine has all the credentials and all the skills to do exactly that. Take her down and win the fight. And the thing with Jasmine too is she's extremely tough. Sometimes her striking is not really that great, and she can get caught into these wild slugfest kind of fights where face doesn't look good. I don't necessarily love her IQ. She strikes more than she should. Sorry, but I think ultimately she's still tough as nails. So I don't think Lipski's going to knock her out, even if she does engage in that. And eventually, she should be able to get the fight to the ground and start doing work there. And Lipski's very tough, so I totally expect her to stay in it till the end. I think this fight goes to the distance for sure. It's going to be hard to beat Jasmine in a decision in Canada. So give me Jasmine to grab the mic, win the decision, and say something weird on the weird on her interviews, flipping people off or something, because she kind of has that Diaz brother fucking bitchy ass attitude. But give me Jasmine to get it done by decision. What do you think?
Now, I might take a dog shot here, just
Yeah, no, I get
because
it.
like plus 187 is high. Jasmine, for the good wrestler, she has the wrestling credentials. Don't get me wrong, but for all the good wrestling that Korean Silva had, she had some good control on De Silva the last fight. But this girl got up, right, and she got up and she fought, and she struck her pretty well. She did lose that fight. Don't get me wrong, but for all intents and purposes, she did outstrike her that night. And if Korean didn't have such good jits control, then this would be something different, right? So like, does Jasmine have the same control? But see, Jasmine doesn't try to hold position. When she's on the ground, she's punching, she's going for a ground and pound and all that kind of stuff, leaving herself open. I think the Queen of Violence, for as bad as her ground game supposedly is, she does have a 70% takedown defense. And in those three fights that she lost, I'm sorry, one against Casey O'Neill, Gatto, and Aldrich, she did get taken down, but she got up. And she showed a good, like urgency to get up when she got down, right? So I'm not quite sold on Jasmine holding her down for 3 rounds. And on the feet, man, she's a good control takedown, grindy wrestler, but like her technique isn't that great, and
Oh.
she's just flailing arms, man. So Ariane Lipski actually throws technical punches, so. And that in that Casey O'Neill fight, it was technical as hell. Like that, if you go rewatch that fight, it was clinical the way she beat her, man. Clinical. Up until the armbar, absolutely clinical, right? So, and the armbar is not off the table here with Jasmine either, right? And I hate to say it because, women be women in the UFC, and yeah, she can jump all over an armbar because Jasmine gets overzealous, right? And she does plod forward a lot. And even on the ground, she gets a little overzealous and she leaves herself off balance. So I've taken a shot on Lipski a few times, man. I was on her for Casey O'Neill, I was on her for Gatto, and I was on her for Aldridge. So I was even on her for Karine Silva too, right? So like, I mean, I'm a believer that her style actually works out. So
Yep. Hey man, she's live. She's a better striker for sure, no doubt. Next fight of the night, we got Eamon Zahabi versus Pedro Munhoz, both minus 110, dead even odds. I can tell you right now, 100% this fight is going to the distance.
oh yeah.
1,000,000%. Pedro Munhoz fight. The guy does not get finished. He's on a concrete head. He's low volume. He's boring as fuck. Like, this is a fight I do not want to watch. And while I think, sure, I guess the odds make sense. Pedro's probably been in more like he's fought better competition more often. Zahabi does have some good fights, like sneaky good fights on his record, but I think Munhoz has been there more times. Is what I guess I'm trying to say. But yeah, no, I think the fight's boring as hell, and I can't stand Pedro. Like, I'm sorry, I try to be respectful of everybody, but I can't stand Pedro Munhoz fight. So I'm gonna hope and pick Zahabi to win, and I just can't root for Pedro Munhoz. What do you think?
I think Pedro Munoz throws up volume once every 5 fights, and is this going to be the fifth fight? Like, that's how it is. It's not that he sucks. It's not that he's great. It's not that he's bad, right? He throws up volume when he wants to throw up volume. If this is going to be a point fighting kickboxing war, I have to go with Ayman Zahabi. The problem that I have with Zahabi is that he fights like once every 4 years, right? Like, that's my issue with him. It's not that he's not a bad fighter. I mean, all these fights he's won in a 4-fight win streak. If you want to look at his record, all these fights he's won to be good. That fight against Javid Basharat, great fight, great fight. Stayed off the ground, outstruck him, great fight. Against Kiori Lang, like great fight. One punched him basically. And then Draco Rodriguez, that was a great fight. Turkios, a guy who's known for having a crazy, crazy, crazy grass tank, just like all over the place. Great fight. So the problem is the space in between these fights. Like, so he's getting good training. So I think this comes down to volume. And I don't feel like he knocks out Pedro Munoz. So I'm in Zahabi by fucking decision, baby. If I get decent plus money on it, I'll throw it in there.
All right, next fight of the night, Canadian, another Canadian here. We got Mike Malott coming in at minus 250, Trevin Giles plus 200. Um, Crazy to me that Mike's this big of a favorite after he just fucking got tapped out or whatever by, or was it tapped out or knocked out by Neil Magny? Like,
TKO by Nina, I think.
yeah, let that sink in there. TKO'd from Neil fucking Magny. Yes, he dominated round one and round two, but he fucking gassed and he fucking, like, not a good look. I don't know. For someone who's supposed to run through the guy, supposed to kill him, he's such a finisher, and he gets finished by fucking Neil Magny. There's no way I can play him at minus 250. I can't. If anything, I'm tempted to play Trevin Giles, but Trevin Giles kind of sucks too. So for me, I know I sound like a fucking broken record, pass, but you got to pick your spots. It's not a spot I want to play. I guess I would assume Mike Malott comes back with a vengeance here and out muscles him and bullies him around. I guess give me Mike, but I have no faith, and I certainly sure as hell would not be betting him at minus 250. What do you think?
I think the only difference between Trevin Giles and Neil Magny is that Trevin Giles does get finished and Neil Magny rarely gets finished, only by the top guys. I don't count Mike a lot by like one of the top guys, like a Shavkat in the division. So that's why Neil Magny doesn't get finished. Neil Magny pushes through. Neil Magny's cardio comes through. Mike Malott death gasses. I don't see, and all the fights that don't death gas with guys that actually go down, then Mike Malott wins. So I feel like Trevin Giles is known to get finished. Finished by Vonfiem, finished by Protest, finished by Morales, finished by Duplessis, finished by Mearshart, finished by Zach Cummings. He's never lost a decision in his goddamn life. Give me Mike Malott by submission. That's it.
All right, there you have it. Yeah, sure. Next fight of the night, Marc-Andre Barriault, minus 200. Dustin Stoltzfus, plus 170. I think this is actually going to be a pretty fun fight, to be honest. I think this is going to be a decent one to watch. I think that they will stand and trade it out for the most part. And while I do think the odds are a little bit wide, I am going to lean Marc-Andre Barriault just to, be the tougher guy. Put on the volume, not get knocked out. And then you know what? Dustin's a pretty tough guy too, to be honest. He's kind of underrated it himself. He's had a couple good performances. He's had a couple shit performances too. But yeah, I think this fight plays out on the feet. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. And yeah, give me the Canadian to get it done. What do you think?
I think the odds are super wide for a guy that's lost two fights in a row. What does Marc-Andre Barriault really do that well, right? Like he's a
volume, and he got knocked out by Piper, but Dustin's not
I know
Piper.
it's volume, but it's a volume when you can push a guy up and grind a guy out. Like Dustin Stoltzfus, I don't think he's just going to stand there. Stoltzfus went against his own game plan. If you look at against Bruno Ferreira, the whole game plan was to fucking grapple with him, and then he just went against his own game plan. There was an interview afterwards, and he was apologizing for going not against his game plan. So like that right there against Punahele Soriano, he took him down 4 times. Against Dwight Grant, he took him down 4 times. If you're not knocking this guy out, then I think it's right on the table that he takes you down. And Marc-Andre Barriault, for the good takedown defense he's shown, he's also shown some shit takedown defense against wrestlers that are able to take him down. And we're talking about Jun Young Park, who's not an absolute terror wrestler. He's just a come forward sort of guy. Stoltzfus, if he can do that, I think he has a good chance here. So this fight is a little close. And Fluffy took him down 8 times too, right? So, and he's another guy that has a rock solid head. So like Dustin Stoltzfus isn't going to knock out Marc-Andre Barriault. So I think this comes down to whose game plan can get pushed out a little bit farther. Can Barriault grind him up against the side, she'll throw volume on him, and just Stoltzfus just stand there? I don't think so. So, I mean, this isn't a fight. I lean dogger pass here. That's all. I just lean dogger pass here.
I thought Stoltzfus looked great against Soriano, but Soriano got gassed so damn bad. I don't think Barriault's going to gas.
Well, I do think he slows down, though. I do think he slows down. I don't think he gasses. But like his game plan, I don't think it like just who's been able to really hold Stoltzfus up against the side and just like grind him out, right? Then Stoltzfus is losing, he's getting KO'd by Abus, getting KO'd by Bruno. Gerald Mearshart is like rear naked choking him in the third round after he got taken down 4 times. You know what I mean? So like that's how Stoltzfus is losing, right? So And the same thing in a fight, I believe he was winning against Rodolfo Vieira up until that point. And when he got tapped out in the third round again. So, the only guy that's truly ever beat him was Kyle Dawkins back in the day, right? Aside from getting knocked out. And now Marc-Andre Barriault couldn't knock out anybody in Mike Tyson's punch. I don't think so. Like, so let's be honest with you. Like, it's just
Last show.
he's that guy, man. So you're gonna just, I think it's a points play here. If you have the plus 3.5, go for that too. That's another good play on that.
All right, next fight of the night, we got Kyle Machado minus 160, Brenson Ribeiro coming back at plus 130. I'm very tempted to bet against Machado because I just don't think he's good at all. Problem is Brenson Ribeiro is pretty damn chinny and pretty unreliable himself. So I mean, I thought Machado, he came in with a bunch of finishes and he's looked fucking boring and not very good. McParkin does what he does. He jabs you up. He's pretty effective at being boring himself. So whatever, I give him a pass on that one. But then his other fighter, I don't know. He has not been impressive to me at all. I think Brenson Ribeiro is probably the more explosive guy. The problem is we haven't seen Machado knocked out. Like we haven't seen some terrible chin by him, and we have seen Ribeiro like he's kind of knocks you out or bust. So if he can't knock out Machado, then he's probably bust. Again, broken record player. I'm not playing it as of right now. I'm betting against Ribeiro, I guess, because I think he's kind of a glass cannon. But again, I think he's the more explosive guy here. So I'm hoping Ribeiro knocks him out. I am rooting for a Ribeiro knockout. So I think maybe I'll bet Machado so that I'm happy if I lose. So I think I'm rooting for Ribeiro knockout. Don't trust him. What do you think?
I kind of like Ribeiro in the spot just because I don't. Kyle Machado is moving down from heavyweight to light heavyweight, right? So in essence, that Ribeiro should be the faster guy here, right? And in his last fight against that Russian guy, he got taken out 5 times, but he took him down 3 times. And you got to remember, Kai got taken out 3 times by Mick Parkin, right? So I think the speed is with Ribeiro. I think the power is with Ribeiro. And like this comes down to a gas tank issue. Ribeiro actually went to the decision. Kyle's gone to the decision. I think it gets sloppy if it goes longer, but I don't think Kai can knock him out. That's the problem, right? So I lean Ribeiro here, and I actually lean Ribeiro by finish.
Well, that's his win condition, usually.
Well, I think he can win a decision here too, because if he takes him down to the ground, and if the guy doesn't get tapped out, what is he gonna do? He looked like a fish out of water when fucking Mick Parkin was on his last breath when he was taking down Machado in that fight. If you look, and that was typically not way Mick Parkin fight. So when that fight went to like the scorecards, I as a Mick Parkin better, I was scared because he looked like shit, and this guy still couldn't beat him. Right? So I mean, I'm not saying that Brenton Ribeiro is Mick Parkin. I'm just saying the speed and the takedowns are on that one side. I don't know what Machado does better than Brenson. Maybe volume. Maybe volume. So there you go. That's about it. But I don't think he's going to hit that hard. You think the power translates down like that? It's going to be slow. It's going to be slow.
We'll find out. That brings us to the featured fight of the night. I think this one's pretty good. We got Derek Lewis plus 150, Janata Diniz minus 175. Diniz has had a problem with the takedowns, with his takedown defense. He comes in as a pretty credentialed kickboxer. Doesn't have the hugest power in the world. Obviously, he faced adversity from, I think it was Austin Lane, took him down round 1, and then he ended up TKOing him pretty good in round 2. But I am on Diniz. I think Derek Lewis kind of turtles these days when he gets hit. So I think for Derek Lewis to win this fight, I think he actually needs to shoot a takedown, take him down, and pound him out on the ground. I think that is a path for Derek. I just don't think he'll do it. So I think Diniz is the more credentialed kickboxer, and I think he'll hit him with something hard. Derek Lewis kind of turtles, covers up, and gets a couple more shots, and it's over. So I have 3 or 4 bets on this card, and Diniz is one of them, along with Zalal. What do you think?
I can't get behind Diniz. It's not that I like Derek Lewis any better. Like, I think Diniz was losing parts of those fights that he won in the UFC. So, like, Derek Lewis, for all intents and purposes, outlasted Nascimento, and I didn't think he could. I thought he was gonna get taken down and pounded out, or taken down and submissioned, or I thought he didn't have the toughness that he showed in that fight, and he showed a lot of toughness. So, like you said, Diniz has got to hit him with the truck to beat Derek Lewis. I mean, the guys that are like beating Derek Lewis are Jailton, who took him down and rode him out, Spivak, who took him down and rode him out, Pavlovich, who knocked him the fuck out. But does that guy Diniz have Pavlovich power? Does he have
Tai
Tuivasa?
Tuivasa did it.
Yeah, Tuivasa. But I don't know. Does Diniz have Tuivasa power? No, for all intents, Ty did a couple things right in his lifetime. So I don't know, man. I can't get behind minus 175 when it's like some sort of comeback knockout win when Derek Lewis actually took down Rodrigo Nascimento, which is a big deal. And on
That's
this,
why I said I think he can win like that. I don't think he wants to strike with Diniz. I don't think. Like
maybe a ground and pound black bear style, but I can't get behind Denise. I'm not saying go Derek, but I'm picking Derek Lewis because I don't like Denise, and maybe I'm just being biased here.
hey, cool. Next fight of the night, the very relevant fight. We got Aaron Blanchfield minus 138 favorite, which is surprising to me, versus Rose Namajunas plus 110. Obviously, they've both lost to Manon Fiorot. Blanchfield, obviously, a killer on the ground when she can get it to the ground, but she doesn't have the greatest takedowns. Rose Namajunas is good grappler. So is Rose Namajunas going to get tapped out? I don't think so. I'm not even so sure that she gets taken down, to be honest. And then on the feet, Blanchfield gets a lot of shit. I think her striking is underrated, actually, as weird as that sounds. I don't think it's definitely not technical, but she does put on a pretty good pace. Like, she kind of makes people uncomfortable with just her straightforward pressure, but there's no way that compares to Rose's striking. So I think Rose is going to piece her up on the feet. I don't like Rose Namajunas. I am rooting for Aaron Blanchfield, truth be told. Not a Rose Namajunas fan, but Rose at plus money against a grappler. Like I'm. This is the third part of my parlay. I'm on Rose, Diniz, and Zalal, and I feel good about them. I placed a good size bet on them. I like Rose here, and like I said, I prefer Aaron Blanchfield. I want Blanchfield to win, but I don't think she's going to get the takedowns. I don't think she's going to submit her. And I think Rose is a far better technical striker. What do you think?
I think the best bet for me is that this fight goes to decisions because I can't see either one of them go anywhere. I actually like Blanchfield's forward pressure in this one. Rose got taken down by Amanda Hebos 4 times, man, and that really rubs me the wrong way, man. And even when she got taken down by Tracy Cortez in spurts, she got controlled on the ground there. So, that Hebos fight, I won money on it. I had Rose, but I might have been shitting my pants a little bit because Hebos made that fight really, really freaking thin, razor thin, right? So in Blanchfield, as much as like Mana Firo beat her in that last fight, she beat her pretty handily. She never stopped coming forward, and she really never stopped throwing any volume, right? So Rose, man, she better watch her P's and Q's because like she is so known to be low volume, sometimes. I mean, she's throwing 93, 96 in 5 round fights, but 60 in a 3 round fight. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. 37 against fucking Esparza. And then you don't in all her 3 round fights, they're very low volume. And I've seen Aaron Blanchfield go for broke in those times, right? And if Rose wants to shoot one of those lazy takedowns of her own, like Blanchfield is very good at snatching a neck, snatching an arm, snatching something else too. So I can see why. I think they're at 2 different parts of their careers. I'm gonna go with the favorite, Aaron Blanchfield, but I do think decision is the move here.
Hey, you brought up a great point with that. That Amanda Hebus fight was way closer than it should have been. Way closer.
Hmm.
All right, that brings us to our main event. We got Brandon Moreno minus 160 coming off the loss to Brandon Royval, where he looked fucking terrible. Striking looked like his technique had gone out the window. And we got Amir Albazi plus 130. And I don't have it in front of me, but I feel like his last fight was the robbery win against Kai Kara France.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So that fight, he fucking lost that fight. Like, I don't know how he got that decision. Brandon Moreno looked so bad last fight that every part of me wants to bet Amir Albazi, but Moreno looks so bad because Royval's pressure is it's frantic. It's crazy. It's hard to deal with that pressure and that pace. And Amir Albazi does not fight with that volume and that pressure and that pace. So I kind of feel like this is kind of a slow fight. I don't know. I feel like this is a fight Brandon Moreno should win. If he doesn't win this fight, I mean, I know Amir Albazi's undefeated in the UFC. I know he's clearly a stronger guy. He should be able to take Brandon Moreno down at will at the beginning, but I don't think he's going to be taking him down for 5 rounds straight. I don't love his volume. If Brandon Moreno's at his best, I think Brandon Moreno wins this fight. I thought Kai Kara France won the fight quite handily. Brandon looked so bad last fight, though. He looked so bad. I think we got a decision on our hands.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say, fuck. Maybe I find myself leaning Albazi now. I was gonna say Brandon Moreno. Honestly, I was going to. But he looked so bad last fight, and I think Amir is the stronger guy. So I think he'll get the early takedowns and bank the early rounds, and then it could just get ugly and sloppy later. I came into this full intention of picking Brandon Moreno, and right now I think I've talked myself out of it. Right now I'm kind of thinking Amir now. All of a sudden, I don't know. I'm undecided right now. What do you got?
So it comes down to like where does Brandon Moreno fucking find himself career wise right now? Like where does he think he's like at? You know what I'm saying? Like, is he going for it again? Because if he's going for it again, he's the more talented fighter. Amir Albazi is probably the better grappler, has the better wrestling. But really, man, the guy doesn't shoot down mad takedowns all fights, man. The most, I believe the most he's ever fucking landed in the UFC is 2 takedowns. And that was on Zumagulov. He landed two on Figueiredo. He did sub those guys, but he's not subbing Brandon Moreno. He only landed one on Kai Kara France, and Brandon Moreno, for all the fights that he's got taken down, of like it's very rare that he just gets held down on the ground. You know what I mean? I mean, Ravel took him down, didn't get held down. Pantoja took him down, and he won there, but it was a split decision. That fight was razor thin, and he still outstruck him. I feel like the volume edge is on Brandon Moreno's side. He probably does. They probably have the same amount of power. I mean, Albazi's not a one-hitter quitter, but he does have KO power. And if Brandon hits you, he hits you, right? So. Decision on the hands. I don't know. The surgeries, Albazi, the layoff, Brandon Moreno. There's too many unknowns to actually bet this fight. So I lean. Okay, if you go this guy at his best versus this guy at his best, Brandon Moreno will win this fight. Okay, but there's a lot of outside factors for this fight that I just don't want to like get into or at this point. Albazi's coming back from a long layoff, and he is the lower volume fighter. I don't think his strength, he might be able to push him up against the side, but Brandon is known not to get controlled. So prime for prime or best fighter for best fighter at their time, I'm picking Moreno. But I do think this goes the whole way.
Me too. I thought Moreno's striking technique looked so bad last fight. Like it just did not look like the same guy at all. Like the punches just looked amateur hour. But again, Royval pushes an insane pace. I don't think Albazi pushes that uncomfortable pace. And like you said, best for best, prime for prime. It's Brandon Moreno. So yeah, I'm going to agree. But I also agree that I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. My bets for the card are, and like you said, maybe we don't see eye to eye on the Rose one, and maybe now I'm a little bit worried. But for me, it's Rose, Zalal, and Diniz, and you don't agree with that one either. But those are my 3 bets for the card. Hey, I think there's going to be some close fights here. What do you think? You're good?
Yeah, man. All right, guys.
Have a good one. We'll talk soon.